is a good girl. Hey, Gemma. It's getting properly caffeinated this morning. Caffeination. Because today, we're going on a huge, adventurous adventure to seek out all the locations to the Mel Gibson 2020 film, FATMAN. Finished shooting up here in the Great White North, which acts as the fictional town of North Peak, Alaska. This finished shooting in February 2020 is available on Prime. Download this movie. It's action-packed, dramatic, hilarious. Mel Gibson does an amazing job, also stars Walton Goggins, and this adventure will take us around the entire Greater Ottawa area. Places in Ottawa, up in Cantley, Quebec. It's going to take us from Pakenham to Elmont to Carleton Place. So come along. It's going to be an exciting Christmas adventure. Much to see here as we seek out all the filming locations to the 2020 film, FATMAN. Let's go. Okay, here in Elmont, first stop on this FATMAN tour brings us to Little Shit's house. This is where Billy Weenan lived. Pretty cool homestead to the right. Check it out. This is the Pinehurst Manor B&B. It is recently closed here in Elmont. This is where all the scenes, interiors and exteriors of Little Shit's house would have been. His room would have been upstairs. It's pretty cool. Little Shit's house in the film right here. We are here in Elmont. Billy's house. There's a front step. First scene you see in the movie is someone wiping away some snow in their windshield, and that unveils Little Shit's house. Right here. Pinehurst Manor B&B. And many scenes, him and his grandmother shot right in there, including him opening his Christmas gift and receiving coal for being a bad boy. Not gonna be able to get any of the interior shots as it is closed down. Pretty wild place though. Pinehurst Manor B&B, used as Billy's house in FATMAN. And he comes down right here after getting coal Christmas morning. Yells to the skies right here in anger. You messed up big time, FATMAN! And I did notice that on the side of the building here, they did put a makeshift way into the basement that isn't actually there on this side of the house. He would have been painting right up there in one of those rooms. It's too bad we can't get in to the interiors. It is a private building now, but luckily we got on the property to get the exteriors, so that's good. Look at this old, dilapidated garage right here. Pretty cool. Little Shit's house. We are passing through downtown Ottawa. Good 45 minutes from where we were on the outskirts towns of Ottawa. We got to bypass downtown to get up north to Quebec, to the North Pole. Santa's compound in Cantley, Quebec. Parliament Hill just over here. The legendary Parliament buildings of Ottawa just down over here. Not our mission today. We gotta go further north to Quebec. Interesting green and blue windowed building there with the point there to the left across the intersection. The French, they build some interesting things. Very unique. We're in Cantley now, close to Santa's compound. This is like the North Pole. Fictional town of North Peak, Alaska. We are ascending higher. Outside Santa's compound, check it out. Christmas trees. Santa's Christmas trees. God, beautiful reefs. Beautiful wreaths. Real life North Pole Christmas trees. Pretty cool. Where's Santa? Now all the reindeer. Here's the property in Cantley right here. I'm standing kind of over here. So just over there by that barn over yonder is where they had their standoff, and he would do his shooting practice. I'm just standing over to the right. Where Santa kept his sleigh and everything. He came walking out of there after the Christmas delivery. This movie goes past Christmas. Mel Gibson came walking out of there. Would have been Boxing Day. The gunshot in his stomach. Head back over to his homestead. And here comes a little dog to greet me. Coming out just like Santa did. And so, yeah, here you go, Fat Man's house. We're not going to stay too long. This dog has greeted me. But this was Fat Man's house in the film. Where him and Mrs. Claus lived. One of the other barns they probably used. There you go, Fat Man's homestead. Over the left shoulder of Mel Gibson, right after he was having his boxing workout here in the barn beside the house. Take it in, folks. Fat Man's house. You see it quite a few times in the film. Go watch this film. Here in the Great White North, we're in Quebec, to get my stubble going. Shot here of Mel Gibson when he was doing his shooting practice in the morning, and Mrs. Claus walking toward the house right there from the other side. I'm just kind of to the left of these trees over here. Pretty amazing. Right here. Fat Man's house. So much went down right here. This was Mel Gibson's house in the film. All the elves and everybody. He kept his sleigh over in there. You never really see the sleigh. You see it very briefly when he's working on it. Lucky it wasn't blitzing and tear your package right off. And down there, see that thing? That's obviously where the whole infiltration happened, but that was just an exterior. They utilize this whole property in the film. Pretty awesome. I want you to go watch the film. It's dramatic, it's action-packed, it's hilarious. All the elves, Santa, Walton Goggins, all filmed right here for Fat Man. Definitely one of the roads they filmed on right here. Mel Gibson listening to his country tunes. Here it is right here. Here's that windy road that led to his compound. I can tell by the exact wind right here. So we go to the left and then it curves to the right. Right over here is where they would have put the North Peak, Alaska sign. We're actually in Pakenham. This is the road that he would have turned off of many times on his way over this, the historic 5-span bridge of Pakenham. You can see the church in the distance that you see every time he passes over the bridge. Eating his cookies and listening to his country tunes. Pretty cool. Good shots of the water. The exact stone bridge you see that they chose to use quite a few times in the film. Looks pretty cool. What's more adventurous than taking a stroll over the bridge in the winter time? So Mel Gibson drove that red Ford right over this bridge, giving you a shot of the gorgeous church there in the distance. So we're taking a walk over the bridge. And we also see Walton Goggins' character, Skinny Man, take a ride over the bridge as well. Pretty cool. This would have been the bridge in the fictional town of North Peak, Alaska. Really, we're in Pakenham, Ontario. Heading back now, thought it'd be cool. Come and walk across this bridge. And every time I'm watching Mel Gibson or Walton Goggins go across the bridge in the film, you can say I walked across that bridge. Used to have family that lived out here in Pakenham. I've been over this bridge many, many times, but even though I'm from this part of the country, I've never walked across the historic 5-span bridge. Now I have. Pretty cool. Take a look at this. This would be the church you see in all of the shots in the film where they're going over the historic 5-span bridge. This is the church here in Pakenham. Me and Ryan are gonna step out, take a look. Dressed appropriately. It's the Great White North. It is freezing in the winter, but look at this. You can't see the detail in the church in the film or in the shots I showed, so I figured let's step out, get a shot of the church. This is the church you see in the background and all the bridge shots. Of course, you cannot see any of the detail in the church. This is a big church. Cool statue right there. Very cool bell tower and cross up there. Figured we'd come right up to it. I love to cover churches, as you know. It wouldn't hurt to stop. Love to admire the architecture in churches. And so this church, prominently featured in the bridge scenes in FATMAN. That's a cool church here in Pakenham. It's the St. Peter Carleton Roman Catholic Church. One road over here from that church, which you see right there, got Nicholson's Beer Store LC. Ryan just going in there to grab something. It's a nice little general store they got over here. I love old timey general stores. This is an 1840s general store and bakery. Look at that. Old school truck right there. That's pretty cool. Some snowmen. Joy to the world. Christmas is upon us. Fat Man's making his lists. Nice general store. Got a little rocking horse there. Alright, so we're in Carleton Place now, just on Bridge Street. You see this tower, this is from the other side of the tower. You see this behind him quite frequently every time he goes over to the post office. We are in the Great White North. This brings us on to historic Bridge Street in Carleton Place, where the post office of North Peak, Alaska was. Fictional town of North Peak, Alaska, but this is the town where Stompin' Tom was from. The Mississippi dripped off Big Old Joe's face. Stompin' Tom Connors, 1936 to 2013. Post office where Mel Gibson playing Santa comes and Skinny Man eventually tracks him down. You see that Canadian Tire logo in the film real well. You only see just this part of the Scotia Bank here, right beside Ryan. Obviously there are no Scotia banks in America or in this fictional part of Alaska, which is right here in Carleton Place. This was the Carleton Place post office, the historic post office. No longer, now it's an investment planning service. IPC Securities Corporation, Keel and Associates. Pretty awesome building though. I've documented it before. You can go back to my Carleton Place episodes and see that. Mel Gibson pulling up in the red Ford to the post office with that church tower in the background there. See that Canadian Tire logo right up there. which had an American flag right here beneath it. Obviously, there are no Canadian tires in America. And if this was North Peak, Alaska, that would not be there, but there you go. You do see that in the film. There's an American flag there, and also a makeshift American flagpole right here. The interiors, however, of the post office, where his box 323 was, are not here inside the post office. But this was, at one time, a real post office, just as it states right there. And check it out! Here's FATMAN right here. We got FATMAN right here. There's Chris right there. There's Chris. It's funny how he only ever gave Chris to the people at the post office, so Skinny Man couldn't track him down in any way. Here's where the post office now is in Carleton Place, not far from where it is in the film. But they didn't have any info on Santa Claus. They didn't even have Kringle. They only knew him as Chris. Didn't have his last name, didn't have his address. Checking out all the FATMAN locations up here in the Great White North. And here we go. Yet another FATMAN. Covered this cool church before, and this is the church with that tower you see prominently in FATMAN behind Mel Gibson in so many shots when he's going to the post office. Pretty cool. I've covered this church in my other Carleton Place episode. Go back. I cover all the churches and historical spots in small towns. This was one of them. Didn't even know that tower could be seen so prominently behind Mel Gibson in the film. Back here on Bridge Street, we got the Grinch right here. Mary, or whatever. So right over here at 117, this was the exterior where you see FATMAN. This is where FATMAN would have come to the bar to do his drinking. It's a store now, but this was the bar in the film, 117 Bridge Street. Only the exterior of the bar. The shot of the pole that was there at Bridge and Emily Street. There's the bar at 117, the bar exterior from across the street. Unfortunate, but these workers actually just took down the Emily Street and Bridge Street pole, which would have been crooked, standing right about here in front of the exterior of the bar here at 117 Bridge. You also see the floral boutique over here in a few shots. FATMAN. Floral boutique up here, you can see in the film. This whole strip actually can be seen in that balcony there. Very unfortunate. Floral boutique still here. That pole's not here, Ryan. Where would the pole be? I think it would have been right here. That pole's been there for decades. Either way, this is the bar right here, 117. That pole would have been right here. Oh, I know what happened. The Grinch took the pole. You stole the pole. Here's where FATMAN would have parked every time he shows up to the bar. The bar is right there at 117. So this is the angle of the street you get. He would have been parked right here where either of these two vehicles are parked and heading towards the bar right there. The crooked, this is Emily and Bridge Street in Carleton Place. But the crooked pole from the film may have just been removed. But that's the view you get of the bar exterior right here, Bridge and Emily. Just behind where the post office and everything is on Bridge Street was where they did the interior of the bar scenes. Every time he's there, buys that gentleman a drink at the bar or talks to the bartender, he's in here in the waterfront gastropub. Just on the side of the gastropub here, here's the view of the water you get. Good place to grab a drink. There's Bridge Street right there. Post office. It's all acted as North Peak, Alaska here in Carleton Place. Bridge Street here, we will take a quick shot of the interior of the gastropub where Santa would come to get his drinks or a warm glass of milk for the road.
Well, then what do you have?
I just dropped in to say hello.
And if it's not too much trouble, maybe a glass of milk for the road.
Windows you see right behind him every time he's right over here drinking at the bar. This is the exact bar where he'd come to get his drinks, or like I said, glass of warm milk. You see these windows behind him really well. Of course, I'll show the usual matchup shot. Very nice place to come for a drink. See these exact windows, this whole design behind him. Right behind Mel Gibson, right here. Inside the gastropub, there are those two windows there and the fireplace behind him. And she's serving him a drink. Notice all the wood, everything the same here. Only filmed a couple years ago, right here. The bar, gastropub. Here at the gastropub in Carleton Place, used in FATMAN. And there's the two windows you see behind him. Pretty cool design of the place, can't mistake that. Cozy, quaint place to come for a drink. Okay, and this is where Billy's school was. He was the runner-up, and just in there, you actually see that whole sign, "Welcome to the Bear's Den," in the film. Here are the shots of Billy's school you get right here. It's the Bear's Den here in Carleton Place. So what they used, they didn't change any of this. That's exactly how it reads in the film. And he was the runner-up after coming second place with his project, which didn't sit too well with him. Took a picture just in the interiors right in there. And then you get another angle over here. Billy getting into his ride home right in front of the Bear's Den, Carleton Place High School. Didn't even change the sign there, same sign. So after he comes out of school and he gets into his lift home, like I said, there's the Bear's Den, there's the school they used. They're parked right over here, and you see a good shot of this baseball diamond over here. See the fencing to the baseball diamond right behind him, so he's probably parked somewhere around here. Throws his ribbon on the ground for heading home to create his master plan. He didn't want the ribbon. You don't want to wear the ribbon, Billy? So yeah, you see this exact fencing in the film, and these houses right there.
Roger.
Yes, Mr. Wiener.
I have some more work for that friend of ours.
We're in Elmont, Ontario now. Cool church to the right. Maple syrup capital of Ontario. Elmont. There's the flour mill there to the left. Pretty cool. So they use the Textile Museum for the interior of the post office scenes. Also here in Elmont, they use the Mississippi Valley Textile Museum. That's this place right here. Pretty cool building. They used some of the interiors for a couple of the scenes with Skinny Man. It's the Rosemont Woolen Company. And a couple more shots here of the Textile Museum. It's Mill Fall, which are apartments now. Used to be an old mill. The river's just behind that. A lot of history here in Elmont. So it's cool that they use some of these historical buildings. You can take museum tours at the Textile Museum, but yeah, that's it. Textile Museum in Elmont. And looking at the interiors, I can definitely see it. They definitely use the interiors here at this B&B. You can see the Christmas tree through the window there, which is exactly where it was set up in the film. And it was in the basement where they were holding little Christine Crawford hostage, threatening her to say that she cheated with her project.
Fairly helped with that train project. You cheated.
Okay, we are now in Chesterville, Ontario. And there's the Chesterville Water Tower right there off of Main Street. And at 171 Main Street, you'll find the former Nestle plant. The former Nestle plant. And they use this for the interiors of the elf workshop, the cafeteria scenes, scenes with the soldiers. And anytime Mel Gibson playing FATMAN, or Santa, was addressing the elves and telling them that they're under new management, that all took place here. The former Nestle plant in Chesterville. Mel Gibson here in the factory playing Santa, addressing the elves right there. Pretty cool. Standing right outside, this would be in the interior, of course. There's a pretty good chance they may have even set up Mel Gibson, FATMAN's office where he was making the phone calls. If that wasn't done inside of the house in Quebec, that was probably done here at the plant, because they did a lot of Skinny Man's interior phone call scenes here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool right here. FATMAN's house in Cantley, Quebec. Like I said, they utilized this whole property. Would have been the reindeer stables over here. This barn, right where he kept the sleigh. That would have been the compound that got infiltrated, where all the elves were there. Skinny Man. They probably would have used most of this. They had the army trucks and stuff for the soldiers coming through this property. Take it in, folks. Trying to find that old relic tractor. But that's it. This is FATMAN's compound. The real life North Pole right here. Hey, so here we are now at the Diefenbunker. This goes about a mile or two underground. And you can see it in the movie The Sum of All Fears with Ben Affleck and Denzel Washington. However, they use this in FATMAN. So when Skinny Man, Jonathan Miller, was down doing all his shooting practice, all the shooting scenes were done down here in the Diefenbunker. You can see I did a full episode on this earlier on in the year. So go back, check out my Diefenbunker episode. You'll see where they shot the scene from Sum of All Fears. But it's right here where his car was parked. He comes out after the shooting practice on Christmas Day. This place goes down about a mile or two underground. There's a lot down there. And that's where they shot the martial arts scene where he's training, and all of the gun scenes, all the shooting practice. He's running that course on Christmas Day. That all happened down here in the Diefenbunker. And then he comes up here, gets in his car, and gets the call from Little Shit, who wants him to kill Santa Claus. Right here, the Diefenbunker, outside of Carp. I broke it. Here outside of the Diefenbunker, here in Carp, and there's Walton Goggins putting his guns into the back seat of his car, right outside of the Diefenbunker. That's the exterior area they used here at the Diefenbunker. And of course, the shooting and martial arts scenes. 171 Main Street here in Chesterville. You can definitely tell by the yellow stairs going up the side of the building. All the color was yellow and green in the film. So it probably would have just been right in there, that loading area, where they did the post office scenes where Skinny Man shows up at the post office. This is actually where he was walking in the back to say he was there and he was new on the job.
Morning. Sorry, this is my first day.
That they shot the scene here at the Chesterville Nestle plant because of the lifts behind him. So I'm thinking parts of his office or apartment were filmed there. They shot quite a bit here at the former Nestle plant. Skinny Man going in there for the post office job would have been shot back there. Also Santa addressing all of the elves when they were under new management. So Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, all filmed here. Love that thing there, it looks cool. And all the infiltration scenes were shot in here. And the building extends all the way over here. So this is all part of the plant here. Good portion of the film's interior shots were shot here at the plant. Very comedic scene. Would have taken place at the cafeteria in here or the cafeteria in the Diefenbunker, where The main soldier is talking to the head elf, Seven, about his diet.
Efficient and productive way to eat is simple carbs and sugars. 6 times a day. But that's unnatural.
Alright, so there's a point in the movie when Skinny Man is coming into Canada. And these are the booths that acted as the border patrol. The border officials, when he has to show his papers and let her know that he's coming into Canada, he's gonna kill some stuff. And you see this building to his right in the clip I'm gonna show, and that's the Carleton headquarters building. Took me a while to figure out which building that was to nail down this spot. So these would have been the border booths. I'm pretty sure it was this one right here. One of these two that the lady was checking his papers out of. She says, "Welcome to Canada." He says, "It's good to be here." So Skinny Man is pretty much coming into Canada this way. Goes right by the Carleton headquarters building. And he has to show his papers to the border official right here. This is actually Lot 9 here at the Canadian Tire Center where the Ottawa Senators play. This is all you see in the film, so it looks like he's just heading into Canada. The border, you see this building to his right, the Carleton headquarters. What you don't see is where the Ottawa Senators play, the Canadian Tire Center right there. He's coming from this direction. You don't see that, but that's where the Ottawa Senators play right there. So they use Lot 9 here at the Canadian Tire Center as the border crossing into Canada. I'll show you both Terry Fox signs here. There's one. And the one Skinny Man drives by in the film is right here. The exact one you see him drive by in the film. Promenade Terry Fox. There's a Home Depot right there too. Okay, so you remember that there's a part in the movie where he's driving, looking for FATMAN, and he's got his hamster in the passenger seat. And he makes his way over to Critter Jungle, which is right here off of Carling Road in Ottawa. This is right where he comes on a nice blue sky day. Makes his way into Critter Jungle right here. Out here of Walton Goggins in the interior of Critter Jungle in the first aisle I'm in, and then led over to where the reptiles are. This woman assumes he would rather have a reptile than a hamster. This is in fact the area. She begins talking to him right here about the hamster stuff, starts suggesting he get a reptile. He's just in the market for something for his hamster, and then over here is where he basically tells her that she's a lot like his mother, not a good listener.
My mother?
Really?
Yeah. She wasn't a good listener, and she never knew when to shut the fuck up.
Well, we're in here just taking a look at these dart frogs. Wow. Whoa, look at those. One on the rock right there. Look at that. Just peeked his little cranium around that plant. Huh, while we're in here, might as well get a few shots. Hey, little fella. Merry Christmas, little fella. How often do you get to see dart frogs? These little swimming froggers. So much more to see at some filming locations than others. Look at this little guy. So when you see Skinny Man getting some food at the drive-thru, it's actually this drive-thru right here, the McDonald's in Bell's Corners here in Ottawa. Very quick shot, you see him just like this car pulling through the drive-thru. You see some of those buildings in the background.
mission. I got murder.
There's a shot here of Nelm's Convenience, which was made up name that the director picked out. And I totally spotted this sign when we were in Elmont, just at an intersection. It's now a youth center. I just spotted the bricks and that light up there, and I went, oh, we got to go back and check that out. And sure enough, this is the spot, unlisted, where Walton Goggins walking out of the convenience store with the Tim Hortons coffee cup. And he buys the plane off of the kid in the parking lot right here. Now it's the Mississippi Mills Youth Center, but this is where he was walking out with his Tim Hortons coffee cup and offers the kid money for the plane. It would have been parked right over here where now all of these orange boxes and picnic tables are, but Nims Convenience, which was made up just by the director, was never an actual convenience store here. This is where that spot took place. Another point of the movie, Skinny Man finally knows where to go, and Skinny Man comes here over the historic 5-span bridge of Pakenham. Always get a beautiful shot of that church there in the distance every time they drive over the bridge in the film. And come right by this historical building as well. Getting another shot here beneath the bridge. Very dangerous over here. No swimming or wading. Slippery rocks. That's a cool bridge. I see why they chose that bridge for the film. One of the 7 wonders of Lanark County, 5-span stone bridge. It is a breathtaking 5-span stone bridge built in 1901 and used in the 2020 film FATMAN. Beautiful view of the sun going down there underneath the bridge. The Pakenham Bridge. Santa Claus himself drove over this bridge. Played by Mel Gibson. Oh, I love just checking out flowing water. This is the post office he would come to get his packages. All the letters would come here. And so Skinny Man finally tracks him down at this post office. He makes his way in there to get the information himself and ends up waiting over here at this parking lot. We're gonna go over there. It looks further away than it does in the film, but you see that right behind Mel Gibson many times in the film. Same with this Canadian Tire logo, which obviously would not be part of the story because there's no Canadian tires in American cities. Pretty amazing post office though. This is where Santa's packages would come. Letters in the packages. And where Skinny Man ends up tracking him down and tailing him back up to his compound. They had an American flag there covering up that Canadian Tire stuff, but they kept that visible, and the makeshift American flag would have been set up here. Now, just outside of Carleton Place, off of the Ontario 15, this is Bait Casters, and the interior where Skinny Man was getting his skis and his white garment winter suit blend in with the great white north. The interior was here at Bait Casters. Check it out. What's more Canadian than a giant moose? So we're just gonna get the interior shot real quick where he picked up that white suit. Get the moose. Moosey. Where he found the white suit on the wall right here. Got his skis here in the store. Could have got some good weaponry too. This is the exact wall he got that white suit from. You would have had an open view of the counter just over here. Same red counter right over there. You get that on the way out. But it was right here he was standing looking for the proper color.
Green is fucking stupid.
Maybe you could give me some idea what you're looking for?
It's much more filled up than it was when they filmed the movie, but look at all this. Lures, fishing rods, line, everything you need. Even an old bear up here. The old country time bear. Shot of Walton Goggins here in the interior of Bait Casters. They had it way more empty for the filming, of course. See these poles? He's just noticing the white suit on the wall. And there's that bear. You're going to see more of him in a minute. And the red desk, still the same. Counter where the man working asked him if he needed a hand. All this was empty. And he was standing right over there so they could film this properly. White suit over on that wall. Red counter just over here.
1806, and did you want these in the bag?
Red counter. Same red counter. Same red counter, Mr. Bear. Lots of stuff here inside Bait Casters. Lots of stuff for the merry season. Hunting stuff. This is just the center part. So this is the interior they used in FATMAN. Two sides to this store. Hooked on lake life. If you're looking for fishing or hunting supplies, this is the place to come. Pretty cool store in there. It's pretty awesome. Want to say bye to Mr. Moosey. Did you get to meet Mel Gibson while he was here? Well, Walton Goggins did the scene in here at Bait Casters. At 117, this was the exterior of the hunting shop where Skinny Man is getting ready to go find Santa, and he buys a white suit, blend in with the snow. Get a good angle of all these buildings when he comes out. This is just the exterior. So he comes this way, coming out of the store with his newly bought skis and a white garment. There's some more signage up here, but he comes right along this wall to that country song. Puts the skis and everything in his trunk right here and is on his way. Some of these exact signs were probably up when they filmed the movie. Walton Goggins, right here. It's pretty much the angle he gets. Puts the stuff in his trunk there. Of course, the interior was actually Bait Casters. The interior where he gets the white garment and skis. And that's nowhere close to here. And a shot here, right where me and Ryan are standing and are parked in the exact same spot. This sign is missing now, but here's him throwing his skis into his car right here in this alley. So this area here, directly across the street, here's the exact angle you get of the post office when Skinny Man is camping out over here, and you see this house very well, and this balcony right here. He would have been parked right where this Ram is. And they might have used some of the interiors of this building as well as his apartment. But this is where he's parked. You see this house in the background, and this is the angle you get when he's waiting to catch a glimpse of Santa over there. You can see the American flag real well in those shots. This would have been his angle. He was over here peeing in bottles, waiting for Santa's arrival at the post office. Skinny Man there in the parking lot after emptying his bottle, and you can see that house there right behind him. Okay, so notice the three windows here in this shot. Well, this is right in the parking lot, and this place was mentioned when I was looking up spots for the film, so my guess is they actually shot his office. I don't know if this is his office or his apartment, but they shot this scene right in there. Jonathan Miller, Skinny Man, would have been parked right over here. It's pretty cool. These people probably don't know they were in the film. Their balcony was in the film right there. And he's parked here. He's got his sniper rifle and everything ready. So when he finally sees Mel Gibson pull up and head in, he scrambles, gets his sniper rifle ready, and he's aiming right about here. And when Santa comes back out of the post office, he gets ready to shoot him, but then transport truck blocks his view. This fat man pulls up, and Skinny Man's watching him from the parking lot. Makeshift American flag. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Walton Goggins parked right here. For a considerable amount of time there was daytime scenes here, and then he was still here at night. So I think he'd spent a night waiting for Santa to show back up for the packages or letters here at the post office. You never see that Scotia Bank there, but it's there the whole time. They put up that fake American flag right here by the stairs. Tries to open fire and get the job done right away, but that transport pulled up right here, which allowed Fat Man to get into his Ford and drive away. Then Skinny Man follows him back to his compound. As Skinny Man continues to trail Fat Man, this is the other road they used, which is Mount Pakenham, and this is Ski Hill Road, which leads you over to the ski hill. Do a lot of skiing up here. Shot behind Mel Gibson's red Ford in the film on this exact same windy road here in Pakenham. Yep, that's definitely the road. Oh yeah, this part right up here looks pretty familiar. So, Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins shot their driving scene right down here, Carbine Road. For all my American viewers, you may not see this as much where you're from. This is Mount Pakenham, ski hills. Like I said, this is pretty much Alaska. So I'm glad that it stood in for Alaska in a big Christmas film. This is Mount Pakenham. People will be doing lots of skiing here throughout the winter. You can tell by the windy nature of this road that this is one of the ones that they used. So here we are at Fat Man's compound. There's his house right up here, and there's what they used where all the elves were coming out of. So all the interior shots were shot at the factory in Chesterville, and this would have been the archy kind of building, you know, the front way kind of looks like an arch, that they used for just the exterior shots, where all the toy building, the whole elf factory actually was. Of course, the interiors would be at the Nestle, former Nestle plant in Chesterville. You're behind one of Santa's barns right now. Get a good glimpse. The elves, exterior of the elves toy shop, which was all built up with wood for the film. A couple explosions took place there. Pretty cool. Skinny Man was probably all around this perimeter near the army trucks. He was waiting to make his move and infiltrate the elves toy factory. Cool view of the Chesterville water tower here, and an abandoned house right here. Definitely looks abandoned, looks locked up, looks vacant, a little bit run down. A couple of the windows missing up there. Abandoned home. We're not gonna go venturing into the abandoned home. We're here to check out the former Nestle plant here in Chesterville, where they shot all the interiors for the cafeteria scenes. All the elves would make their toys in there. So at Santa's compound, that was the exterior. So the whole infiltration scene where Skinny Man finally finds the compound, heads in with his rifle. That's all those interiors were done here. Inside the Chesterville Nestle plant of the Elves' workshop, there's Captain Jacobs and one of his men looking through the glass as they hear the gunfire. Skinny Man had found his way into the plant. Oh, the Elves' workshop. When Skinny Man finally makes it in and starts gunning down all the soldiers on his search for Fat Man through Santa's compound, all those interior shots would have been filmed here at the Nestle plant. And all the exteriors at Santa's compound. Very action-packed scene. If you have not seen this movie, you gotta watch it. Gorgeous property up here in Cantley, Quebec. And they utilize this heavily for Fat Man. Pretty awesome. His house is just up here. And this movie, you see him come out of that barn the day after Christmas, so it begins right around Christmas and it bleeds through just past the New Year. So this is a good movie to watch throughout Christmas and into your New Year. Goes right into quite a few days into the New Year following Christmas, so. And here it is, Fat Man's compound. Cantley, Quebec. They shot many scenes here. This is it. Mel Gibson as Fat Man, Santa Claus, right here. Came walking right out of there. When the final showdown took place, right down over here. Walton Goggins and Mel Gibson. Good dog. Final showdown right there. Yeah, this is where Skinny Man and Fat Man had their battle right here. I've come for your head, Fat Man! Would have been back here after Mrs. Claus put a bullet in Jonathan Miller, Walton Goggins' character over here. She went back to the house, and when he trailed her inside, she gave him a taste of his own medicine.
I've come for your head, Fat Man!
Through downtown Ottawa. Cool church to the right there. Don't do too much filming, even though I'm from Ottawa. I don't do too much filming here in downtown Ottawa, not too far from the Parliament buildings. Of course, we're accessing all the outskirts of Ottawa and the downtown area for this filming location tour. Look at the size of this church. Get to our next location. Mel Gibson showed up, and up in Billy's room, gave him a surprise and made sure he knew not to do anything bad ever again, or he would come and rip him from his covers while he sleeps. Walton Goggins, Mel Gibson, they all filmed right here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, really cool building. Great shots of the river down here. It's a wild property. Just closed down, no longer a B&B, but I love that final scene of the movie right here. Fat Man's got his eye on you. Now don't screw it up. And that's gonna do it. Ending where we began, right here at Billy's house in Elmont. Pretty cool. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Find the links on my channel. Check out Fat Man. It is such an amazing movie. Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, amazing. It's probably my favorite Mel Gibson movie now. Finally, we have a Christmas film that takes place right here where I'm from. Mel Gibson is our Santa Claus. He's our Fat Man. If you didn't know, right here is a historical plaque for Dr. James Naismith, right here outside of Elmont. I'm pretty excited to show this, and we're driving by, so we figured we might as well cover it. This has nothing to do with the film Fat Man. However, the inventor of the game basketball, Dr. James Naismith. This is the boyhood home of James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, born in this house, which formerly stood on this lot. He entered McGill University in 1883, where he was active in athletics. In 1890, reading this off the plaque here, 1890, right here, James Naismith graduated in theology from Presbyterian College in Montreal. Okay, he graduated in Montreal. But it was here. There was a need for a competitive team sport that could be played indoors during the winter months. During the winter months, so you don't freeze yourself to death. So, in December 1891, he devised a game played under 13 basic rules with a ball and 2 round baskets. He directed physical education at the University of Kansas for 36 years and died in Lawrence, Kansas. But this is his boyhood home, where the inventor of basketball was born and raised right here, James Naismith. Figured we'd just pull over and get that real quick. Teaching you a little something about the game of basketball on the Mr. Thrasha Show. This is the boyhood home here in Elmont, Ontario. James Naismith. And the place he invented basketball. Rest in peace, Mr. James Naismith. It was so cool to go and visit all these spots. Whew, that was 3 days out to work on those spots. It's pretty cool to find many spots that weren't even listed. And this adventure took us pretty much everywhere. Ottawa to Quebec. All around the greater Ottawa area. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did doing it. Please check out this film. You're gonna love it. Mel Gibson, FATMAN, 2020. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. And a big thank you to my best friend Ryan for helping me do some navigation and driving. I really appreciate it, Ryan.
Mel Gibson, Cal. Mel Gibson.